Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You know those signs in the yards of leftists, suburban leftists in particular?
Which one, Dan?
We're
There's
talking about yards.
so many.
Well,
Choose
I
from.
know. You immediately go to hate has no home here, which is how you know that hate resides in that place.
And sometimes hate has no home in Arabic, and I can't read it, but I know what the sign says.
But I didn't know the derivation of this other sign that's become popular among the lobotomized left. Matt Purple helps us out with that. This sign, you've seen it. In this house, we believe Black Lives Matter, women's rights are human rights, no human is illegal, science is real, love is love, and kindness is everything.
Yeah, I've seen those.
That's when you know you're living next door to a real thug. But you know who came up with this sign, which is just a compilation of all these refrigerator magnet bromides of the left? It was a librarian from Madison, Wisconsin. Of course it was.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, I should have guessed that. For more on what he terms the left's Nicene Creed, we're pleased to be joined by Matt Purple, online editor for the Spectator's World Edition. Matt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, guys. Great to be here.
Good to have you. So the the signage of the left in the lawns, the sloganeering, what comes to your mind when you pass by either that sign the librarian created or that more generic "hate has no home here" signage?
Well, I pass by it possibly dozens of times per day because I live in Old Town Alexandria, which is a suburb of Washington, D.C., and just about every upper middle class white person has to have this sign in their yard. I was encouraged to see the other day that there was a sign in one yard, that sign, and then next door there was a parody sign that said, "In this house, we believe that bromides are stupid, tautologies are ridiculous," that kind of thing. So that was encouraging, but yeah, it just, I think, represents a failure of the imagination. I mean, I think I'm Catholic, and we say the Nicene Creed at Mass every week, where we state our beliefs, very explicitly. But we're not so in your face, and we're not so dull-witted that we're just going to nail it into the yard. That we have to accost you as you walk by in the street. And I think it's evidence that progressivism is not just a way of thinking anymore. A political persuasion. It's a theological persuasion. It's a religion, and this is them making their not just their tenets but their beliefs very explicit.
I remember when the religious right was a scary thing. I guess in their circles they still, conjure that boogeyman for their to aid their political ends. But the religious right, there was going to be some sort of Christian theocracy imposed, and it was very intolerant, and keep your religion to yourself. And I got to tell you, even the most ardent evangelical Christians, I don't recall or many examples of the sort of signage and preemptive rhetorical strikes that we get from these religious zealots on the left.
No, my experience of the religious right has been that they're mostly peaceful, kind sorts who have strong beliefs. They want to ban abortion, and they don't want, gays to get married and so on. But it was never, you're right, it was never in your face like that. It was more just that they would vote. They were a powerful voting bloc, and the left understood that, and that's why they wanted to wipe them out. But there's something more. It's almost like one of these, low church great awakenings that we've had throughout history. This progressive religion that we're seeing up now, it is so aggressive, and it's so imperialistic, and it's so on fire. I mean, it's really charismatic in that sense, and that's where I think these signs come from. And it's just the perverting of, I think, good secular terms into religious concepts, right? Like science. We need science, of course. We need experimentation. We need critical inquiry. Science has been twisted by these people into an ironclad set of beliefs, right? Science is not necessarily that critical process. It's whatever Dr. Fauci thinks it is. It's whatever the left thinks it is at a particular time, and therefore it's unassailable, which is the exact opposite point of science. You were pointing out before how the word hate has been perverted in this way too. The hate is being denounced by some of the most hateful people imaginable. So this is how I think you can tell that it's more theological than it is political.
I got to tell you, I've read your Man Flu is Real and the Spectator World. Dan, did you get a chance to read it yet?
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah, did you learn anything?
I don't
or you
agree with it.
What?
Actually, I don't agree with it. It's a rare
You
occasion I
agree
don't
with
agree
it,
with Matt
okay.
Purple.
I have
Well,
three men in
because
my house, and I completely agree with it. Like, I think my temperature just went up a notch.
the upshot is that men are babies about being sick, and
We are.
right, and I never, I mean, I never get sick, and to the extent I break a limb or something, I just rub some dirt on it and I keep moving.
Oh, right. He
I mean,
keeps jumping.
yeah, that's not me.
But
I
you
don't-
caught COVID,
You're-
and what was it like?
It was bad. I mean, it was bad for everybody. I think it was bad for my wife too. But I think because men, like he was saying, are not accustomed to being sick. When we get sick, it's like apocalyptic, right? Like 24 hours in, we're wondering whether we're ever going to get back to normal, whether we can ever heal. And and we're men. We want to be out and hunter gathering and killing deer and bringing home the food. And
Right.
illness prevents us from doing that. It's not in line with our nature. And it's I mean, we can talk about the battle of the sexes all you want, but I think this is one area where women are absolutely right. And if you tell women that men are babies about being sick, they'll act like you just pointed out the most obvious thing in the world. Thank you for saying that. It's absolutely true.
Maybe it's just that most men these days are just babies in general. That's just the peahat culture. And I mean, hunter gatherer. I'm going to go out and find dinner. Yeah, he's going to come home with a Chipotle bag. That's how he's going to go out and find dinner. So yeah, I mean, maybe that's just a not necessarily you because you're not this way. You're a right-thinking conservative guy, but I mean, maybe that's just a commentary on the feminization of culture. Seriously.
No, it could be. Yeah, it could definitely be. I think it's an observation that might outdate the feminization of culture slightly, but still, I think it's gotten worse. And men are much less accustomed to adversity than they used to be. So are women, by the way. But with men, it might be a little bit more glaring. But there's a certain set of I think signs that we always go through when we get sick. There's we're constantly listing our symptoms, for example. Like we'll come out and we'll give our wives and girlfriends a breakdown of, my headache feels a little bit worse, my leg hurts all of a sudden, I feel a little warm. And it's, the woman is just standing there like, yes, this is what happens when you fall ill. It's not, it's not that shocking a development, I think.
So maybe men are more to blame than women are for this unbridled COVID hysteria we've succumbed to over the last 2 years. Although, as you point out in your piece, the opinion survey suggests that women are more worried about COVID than men are, but women are more worried about everything than men are.
Yeah, we're professional warriors.
I wrote a piece about 7 months ago where I pointed out that every COVID hysteric that I've ever encountered, at least one-on-one, has been a man. Right? I was, running down the sidewalk. I was on like a 3 or 4 mile run one day. And this silver-haired guy pointed his head out and said, "Why don't you wear a mask while you're running?" Well, I'd asphyxiate for one. I'd pass out. But all my COVID hysteric experiences have been with men, and it's always the same guy. Kind of short and thin and gray-haired, and looks like he works at a graphic design firm. And I don't.
Yeah.
And so what I said is we need, we're giving women a bad name by referring to Karens. I think I call them Joels, which are the male COVID hysterics.
That's awesome.
And that's Dr. Fauci and Joe Biden and the whole lot of them too.
Yeah, but they're
Joels.
everywhere. There's Joels
Joels.
everywhere. I mean, yesterday in Chicago, this guy had 2 masks on and a shield. And he was like, "I'm never taking my mask off." I'm like, well,
That was no guy. That was Governor Pritzker.
Hey-oh.
Thank you.
It's just crazy. Oh, so wait, real quick though, did your wife get COVID from you?
No, we actually both got it from a family member who didn't know he had it when he came to visit. So it was nobody's fault. We don't blame anybody.
No.
And we're all feeling better. And I have an 11-month-old son, and he actually handled it the best. He had sniffles for like half a day, and he was fine. And but yeah, we're doing better, and my complaining has finally ceased.
Good.
Very good. Matt Purple, online editor for the Spectator's World Edition. Check out both of his pieces, Man Flu is Real and The Left's Nicene Creed, over at the Spectator. Matt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you both.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey .pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you wondering how to grow your business? Do you need cash flow and a ready source for financing? Signature Bank can help. Hi, it's Dan.